Good morning, and we're in chapter 11 of Genesis, and we're just going to start right into it so we can get to it. And the whole language was of one, the whole earth was of one language and speech. And I'm just going to point out here what was wrong about building the Tower of Babel. Early Christian, Jewish and Christian traditions suggest that the Tower of Babel was a counterfeit temple. True temples were built to gather people to God's presence through covenants. In contrast, the people of Babel built a tower to reach God's presence, but their actions did not align with His will. The reason was that the Lord confounded their language and scattered them. The result was, Genesis says that the tower was built of bricks that were baked with fire. Such bricks were much stronger than sun-dried bricks that had been used in previous generations, so the tower could be built taller. The slime or bitumen was a substance like asphalt or tar that was used as mortar for bricks. Some have suggested the slime was also meant to make the tower waterproof in case God decided to flood the earth again. And remember, the ark had bitumen on it, as instructed by the Lord, but this building was not instructed by the Lord. And it came to pass that they journeyed from the east, and they found a plain of the land of Shinar. That might sound familiar, and they dwelt there. Remember, yesterday we said these generations might pop up, and this is one of them. The land of Shinar, again, was one of those mentioned as where Canaan went, and where actually we'll find some more ties in with this. And they said one to another, "Let us go and make brick and burn them thoroughly." And they made brick. They had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar, which we just discussed. But I had a question that I wrote down here, and I thought it was an important one. What things do we have today that we might say, this changes everything? Mankind can do so much more now. What things, maybe in your life, have you seen where people are like, hey, we do things that people haven't done ever, and we can build bigger, we can go faster, we can have computers do this and that, and are we relying on that because we have something new, something better, and think that we don't need to rely on the Lord anymore? And they said, "Go, let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." So they want to make a name for themselves, basically. And they want it to be known who they are. And the Lord came down to see the city and tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, "Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do." I think by now you may see a theme that has come through if we didn't have the Joseph Smith inspired translations and Moses and Abraham of those accounts. It seems that if there was one thing that the devil could do when taking out plain and precious things from the Bible, is make the Lord look like He has no control and that He doesn't know anything about the outcome. notice how often from Adam and Eve on down, where the Lord is like, oh, they're getting too smart for their britches. We better make it hard for them. Almost as if we're getting more and more like him on our own without his help. And that's not true. What he is trying to say is that they imagine up their own things and think they are smart when they aren't. Eating the fruit was not going to make Adam and Eve the same as God. Maybe brought them closer to being like him, but not the same as God. And that's important to know. He understands and knows these things, and he lets them do it because he has given us agency. And so let's not get confused when it talks about the Lord coming down. Oh no, they're going to do this. Oh no, he knows what's going to happen. Let us go down there and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. And we have another little message off to the right. How quickly did the Lord confound the language of the people of Babel? In the account of the Tower of Babel, recorded in the Book of Mormon, Jared asked his brother to call upon the Lord and pray that their language be not confounded, and the Lord granted his request. And Jared then asked his brother to pray that the language of their friends would stay the same as theirs. This request was also granted. These events indicate that the confounding of the language may have happened over time and not in an instant. And I think it's important to note that it was I lost my thought for a second there. But the languages were confounded, but they also were taught. I mean, if they weren't taught that this was the wrong way to go, then first of all, why would have the brother of Jared prayed? Obviously, they knew that their language would be confounded if they didn't change something, or something wasn't changed. Obviously, something was different there. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of the earth, and they left off to build the city. And there's a gray note there, meaning Joseph Smith's translation, or Hebrew. City, and they hearken not unto the Lord. I think that is really significant, the way that is added in, that they hearkened not unto the Lord. And we don't get that from this. And remember that is what we're talking about. When the Lord came down, he didn't see, oh no, this tower is going to come up to heaven and we're going to, they're going to come in my presence. Obviously it's not. No matter how much they built with bricks, it's never going to reach any of the buildings we could build with steel and other things today. And we don't build buildings to try to get to heaven. Remember, it is because they were not following God. Therefore, the name of it called Babel, remember where Babel came from, because the Lord did confound the language of all the earth. So Babel, again, we go to the footnote, and this Hebrew means mix or confound, Belel. It's a play on words. I think that's really a interesting information as well. And from thence did the Lord scatter them upon the face of the earth. Now, interesting, before we get to the generations of Shem, Babel, in this land of, what was it? Something start with an S. Sorry, just trying to go through. Anyway, these were mentioned, and one of the places, Babel, was founded by Nimrod, the great hunter. Again, Nimrod is mentioned in the Book of Mormon as the great hunter. They stop in a place called Nimrod after the great hunter. So it's the same person there, and you start to get these little connections here and there in the Bible and in the Book of Mormon, in the Doctrine and Covenants and Pearl of Great Price, that really ties these things together, and I think it's great when we can do that. But then they were all scattered abroad, and I love the fact that the Jaredite history covers some of this, so we get a better, broader view. And these are the generations of Shem. And the little note at the right hand is, what is the significance of the genealogy of Shem? And I'm going to answer it without going into it, which is because of Abraham. They want to get down to Abraham and Abrahamic covenant and the things that happen with him. Notice that so far we've gone generations and generations, talked about Adam and Noah and well, we talked about Enoch, but that was in Moses. All this trying to get down to the point of getting to Abraham and what he does. And that's what we're going to do this time. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. Remember, Shem is not the father or grandfather or anything of the people of Babylon. They lived in a different area than Babylon. It doesn't mean they were perfect, but it does mean they were not the ones that wanted to build. And remember, a lot of these, because Noah lived something like 300 years after the flood, so Shem and Arphaxad would have known them, and all of these people that built the tower would have known him. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. Now, another thing I noticed here is the age at which they die goes down each generation. I don't think it's something that's going to be a salvation type of thing. I just thought it was interesting. It comes down to a more workable level, you might say, a more level that we can understand, because we don't have people that live 500 years. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begat Shelah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Shelah 433 years and begat sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Shelah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 30 years and begat Peleg. Remember, Peleg was earth divided, I believe. Yeah, the dividing of the earth. We got that yesterday in the generations. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years, and begat Serug. And Reu lived, after he begat Serug, 207 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years, and begat Nahor. And Serug lived, after he begat Nahor, 200 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 920 years, and begat Terah. And Terah and Nahor and begat sons and Nahor lived and begat Terah, and 109 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years, and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now, I did have a joke that Terah had a habit of going around biting people because he wanted everybody to have terabytes, but that's probably a bad joke to give, so I'll leave that where it is. Now, these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abraham, Nahor, and Haran, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father. Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of Chaldees. And that's where we understood when we read about Abraham and things that happened there. Terah wasn't the type of, it doesn't say much here, but Abraham wasn't happy with his father because his father was the one that decided to try to sacrifice Abraham. And Abraham and Nahor took them wives, and the name of Abraham's wife was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, and the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Ishka. So it's important to notice that Haran has died, but Nahor marries Haran's daughter, or Haran's daughter. So it's sad that he dies so young. Apparently, I don't know how young he was, but he's young enough that the others outlived him. But Sarah was barren. Now we're getting into the story that we have, that Genesis seems to be saying, hey, okay, you learned all these lessons, but here is where we want to start slowing down and talking about the covenants. But Sarah was barren, and she had no child. And Terah took Abraham his son, and Lot, Abram his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son, and Sarah, daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of Chaldees to go to the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. And now we are from the flood to Abraham. And now we're going to stay in Abraham for a while because he has a lot to do with the rest of the Bible. And we'll worry about that another day. Just enjoy your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.